Welcome to Jude, the podcast. I am David Jude, and I am your host for this show. And once again, thank you so much for joining us, listening, sharing, downloading, all the different things that you do to a podcast. I can't tell you how much that means to us. Listen, do we have an exciting show for you today? It coming up on Valentine's Day. And so I thought, who better to have in the hot seat today than my Valentine? That's right. My wife, Stacy, joins us on this episode. And listen, she's a little nervous. It's her first time doing anything like this at all. So be easy on her. But we thought we'd have a good time. We thought we'd share our story with you guys about how we met and all the different things that we decided to talk about on this episode. We thought it would be fun to put our story out there a little bit. We think it would be fun to hear a little bit about your story. You're welcome to share that with us through any of our social media platforms or our email at guests@judethepodcast.com. Anyway, we hope you enjoy the show. It was a good time. It was a big time. I think we'll do some more episodes together in the future. But we just wanted to come out there with you guys and share our lives with you as a way to encourage you to do the same for Valentine's. So by the time this show comes out, happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Thank you for listening. Be sure to check out our show sponsors. They're helping us out. We thank each and every one of them. Anyway, enjoy the show. Thank you again for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Drink while...
Yeah, drink away.
Okay.
You've got your red drink there, pink drink, right?
My red drink?
Yeah.
Pink drink.
Pink drink.
Mm-hmm.
We've got other delectables up there, but I don't think you enjoy too many of those.
Okay.
It's a big time. This is a big show.
I'm scared to death.
No reason to be scared to death. So it's going to be our Valentine special. Pretty exciting, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've got my Valentine here with us on the show. So for all of our listeners out there, Amanda was on last time, so that was a big deal. And now we've got
the clam.
the clam. So I've got my wife, Stacy, is on here with us, and we thought it'd be fun to do a show where we talk about our relationship and our fun and where we are with things. And anyway, so here we are. Exciting. You're going to have to talk. This is your show. It's your idea.
Oh, it was a bad idea.
No, it's a great idea.
Bad idea.
Well, then let's start with this. Let's, there's always some type of story or something to get us into it. But we said during our recent trip, as we were listening to podcasts, that let's just get to the content and move on, right?
Yes.
We don't have to tell lots of stories.
I can't talk for 2 hours.
Oh, yes, you can.
No, I can on one-on-one, but not like this. No.
For anyone listening, yes, she can do pretty well with it. All right, so let's get into, let's figure out how long we've been together. So we met each other when? When was that?
1988.
In 1988.
You keep up with that better than I do. Like, you know exactly how long we've been together and how long we've been married. And I'm like the guy that's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So 1988.
Yep, 1988. So we've been together now. That's 36 years. I think it is. And we're only 39. So, right?
No. Some of us.
Yeah. So we,
you didn't realize it was going to be like pulling teeth today, did you?
Well, I thought it might be a little bit easier, but I'm still committed. We're going to get you there.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. You just relax. You got notes. You got your drink. We can do whatever we need to do.
Okay.
All right. So tell us how we met. You give your version of how we got together.
This going to show really how bad my memory is.
Oh, I love it.
You remember everything, and I don't remember shit. So, okay. How did we meet? Well, my good friend. I've always been a girl that has guy friends. I don't have a ton of female friends. I don't know why. But anyway, one of my female friends. They all kind of palled around with this other clan of guys, and she showed me a picture, like hey, you should go out with one of my friends. She showed me a picture and it actually wasn't for you. It was for another guy.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing the pictures like, oh, yeah, he's good looking. Okay, sure. And they were, typical pictures back then. So they were, blurry. They're not like on the that's way before cell phones. But I remember thinking, oh, okay. So she had ID'd this one guy, but then it was, which is one of your guys in the wedding. And then I think she picked you or something like that. And I was like, yeah, he's cute. And it was a picture of you leaning kind of like you're sitting right now.
Yeah.
In your tux. It was your junior prom. It was the picture I had, or that she showed me. I don't even know who you went with, but you had a red.
Was it the white tux, the red?
Oh God, no! I wouldn't have went out with it in.
No, I think that's what they were.
No, you were in black.
Black.
It was black
yeah.
and a red cummerbund and a red.
I think the white ones were the middle school years.
Lord, I don't know, but it had tails. I'd have ran for the hills. But I remember seeing that picture thinking, okay, sure, yeah, I'll go out with them. And so somehow you got my number. I guess Becky gave it to you. And so you had my number and we talked. God, we talked on the phone. Of course, that's when people talk. They didn't text all the time.
And no text. Text didn't exist.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's some of the reason why maybe our relationship goes really well is we were before that era of social media, the era of kids don't have conversations now. They text over, because I even misinterpret texts all the time. You always, kind of remind me that I put some attitude or a spin on things I read that may not be there. So we probably wouldn't have survived if we had been texting back and forth. But anyway,
that's probably true.
So we would talk on the phone, and I can remember you were just so easy to talk to. You would talk we talked 2 hours on the phone. I can remember, like everybody talks about the Generation X untangling the phone cord, and I can remember stretching it and just, are you off the phone yet? Nope. And so you were just really easy to talk to. But then, like, do you want me to stop there and go your thing, or?
Well, that's fine. So I wasn't the first choice, is what I heard in that whole thing.
No, actually, the first choice was your counterpart at the Food Lion, or the Food Dog. Was the guy when I was with my dad, I was always looking at him, and you remembered me.
Yeah, I do.
From them, which is really bizarre, because I went to the city schools and he went to the county, so we didn't even go to school together. So that's what's really bizarre, is how, I guess, sounds awful if I say destiny, but it's weird how life comes together in multiple ways, and we'll talk about that in this conversation. Is ironically how many times our paths crossed before we actually got together.
So I can tell the Foodland story if you want. How far was it? How long was it from Foodland till when we met, or we started talking?
I would say a couple of years. I'm trying to remember. Was it that long? Well, Mom and Dad got divorced when I was like 8, and I was trying to think. Dad lived in Summit, right across from Foodland, and there for a long time when he was married, I didn't go around, and so he was divorced. So I'm trying to remember the timeline, and so I just happened to be spending the night. So he was like, "Well, we got to go to the grocery store because I got a kid in my house," So I remember going and picking out stuff. But I think that dude's name was Philip. That you were. Oh. And so Philip, I had a crush on because my cousin, when I did stuff with the horses, which would have put him around 12 and 14 years of age, he was always there when we would go stop by the grocery store. I'd see him, and I always had a crush on him, and didn't realize that you hung out with him, and I never paid attention to you. Here we are. I don't know. For some reason, he just got my attention, and
not a lot's changed in 36 years.
Stop it. But yeah, so I remember him from doing stuff with my cousin with the horses in the barn, and we'd always run over there and get something from the bakery or donuts or whatever. So Foodland was my first job. It's a grocery store back where Stacy and I grew up in the Ashland, Kentucky area. And so my first job started when I was 15. Stayed there for, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years or something like that. I feel like I was there for a while. Well, till you I think went to off to college somewhere. Well, ACC, I think. Didn't you work at Radio Shack or something then, or was that down in Lexington? Who cares? Well, let's get back to the putting milk in the thing. The milk. Yeah. So grocery stores then, at least back home, had carryouts. And so that was what you were hired to do, is to
bag up the groceries and take them out and put them into people's cars and that type of thing. And so that was my first job as a carryout.
It's a very stressful job.
It was.
I got to hear about that my whole life. And still respect. Respect the baggers.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. And then part of your job was to, stock the shelves where high frequency, I guess would be the thing, or, you sold out of bread and milk and all the other stuff that come in there. And so,
well, it's Eastern Kentucky, of course.
Yeah, that's right.
Run for the hills.
And so to the point of what you were saying, remembering you from Foodland is I was putting milk out and you had walked past, I guess, with your dad. Yeah. And we didn't know each other at this point, but I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, look at that girl. Yeah. Yeah. As guys do, right? The carryouts do. And they're scoping out the chicks that come in there shopping.
I was a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. I was probably about 15 or 16, I think, at that
I would
point.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I probably was in either middle school or high school.
No, it'd have to be high school. It wouldn't be that far back.
It was a couple of years before I met you, I think.
Well, maybe so.
I don't know.
All right. Anyway, so Becky is who we're talking about, shows you a picture, and you say,
"Yeah, he's okay."
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So on my end, I think, so Kenny was dating Becky. On my end, it seemed like Becky did the same thing, like showed me. So I guess it'd have to be your sophomore picture, wouldn't it?
What was I wearing?
Well, the big hair, of course. Yeah. I can see the picture, but I don't know.
Pink sweater and a gold necklace. That would have been my sophomore picture. That was probably my favorite picture in high school.
It's more of a cream colored sweater, isn't it?
Oh, you know what? You might be right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was my favorite because my hair was layered. It was like had that beach wave to it. It's real pretty and blonde, and that was probably my favorite.
We should have had those pictures. We should have planned this out better.
Well, can you add them later? Or
yeah, we can
how's
add
all this
them later.
work?
Yeah, well,
I meant to bring the one of you and I, our very first picture together, over on Jepson Street.
When I'm in the Night Ranger t-shirt.
Yeah. You're so skinny and tiny, and I had big old boobs.
Yeah,
and they were actually where they're supposed to be.
Well, we can add them later. That'd be fun to put in the Facebook post.
Yeah.
for the podcast. So yeah, I think so, and I think Becky said, "Listen, you guys are you're either going to hit it off, or you're going to clash really, really bad."
Really?
Yeah, because you're opposites of each other.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny the things you don't know.
Yeah,
that goes on behind.
I guess I was.
You've held that all these years?
Yeah, I'm sure we talked about it. I'm sure she said it. Yeah. Okay, or not. But yeah, she said, yeah, you'll either hit it off, or you're going to clash big time. And I was like, okay.
I wasn't a Spitfire back then, though. I was a really sweet person. I
Got corrupted later.
Yeah, I just got tired of I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just a different person. I think it was nursing school that did it to me.
Sure.
It just makes you hard.
Yeah, no doubt. Life will do that. So, I don't remember how we first started. I think I do. I think I remember being in the kitchen. I remember having a phone conversation. I was inviting you to see a tennis match I was playing in.
God, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
See, I'm telling you, people are going to find out that I'm like the dude, man. I don't remember nothing. It's really sad. I literally thought about bringing in flowers today, like, happy Valentine's Day, because I'm going to blow this interview. I won't remember nothing. I think you're right. You were playing at Ashland.
Well, we're playing at the tennis center.
Tennis center.
Yeah. And I think we're.
And I think I'm still going to look at Randy. Probably Randy. And
God, not even second. I'm like third or fourth.
No, the picture was of Randy anyway. Originally.
Oh.
It wasn't Kenny.
Oh.
But that's why I was saying it's really weird. Later down the road, we'll get to that, is somehow Kenny had a picture of me. So apparently I'm the town hoe, I guess. I don't know, but.
Well, that's not true.
No, but it was interesting how, I guess, friends how our paths keep crossing.
Well, and you got to think too, I mean, so this is,
80s.
No cell phone. So what you did is you collected pictures, right? Yeah. You got your school pictures or prom pictures or whatever else. And I mean, for that matter, we didn't even have digital cameras. It was just film cameras. Yeah. So,
and to squirt flash.
It's not like you had Snapchat and you could, you could see things and you had pictures. So, I mean, you still have photo albums from back then.
Yeah.
So that's how, we've seen that. So, yeah. So I remember having the conversation, and there was some talk about going to the drive-in or something like that.
God, yeah. Okay. So, I didn't remember the tennis center. I do remember you having a match, and I wouldn't have been driving then because I didn't. I was 16.
Yeah, you didn't come
because you were a junior. No, you were a senior. So I would have been a sophomore because I was 2 years younger
right.
than you. So I remember you talking about the tennis match. And I don't think I had a ride, or I don't know. I don't remember. Anyway, right. So we didn't go. But yeah, so we had been talking on the phone every single night for like hour and a half, 2 hours every single night. A 9 o'clock phone call. I just remember it. And you just really started in on wanting to go to the drive-in. Oh, all of our friends, we're going to go to the drive-in, blah, 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 and go to the drive-in. And I can tell you, so back in our area, there was a couple of drive-ins, wasn't there? Wasn't there a couple?
There was one right by your house.
There was one in Russell. Russell.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Yeah, I think there was one in around Bellefonte or Russell. I don't remember. And then there was one kind of near our house, you said? I don't remember it.
Yeah, it's where Farmers Bank and Big Sandy Furniture
right
was.
Off US 60.
Uh-huh,
okay.
Yeah.
So he just kept on asking about the drive-in. And I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I was the most naive in high school. I got teased a lot about stuff because I didn't know where things are and what things were and how things worked. And anyway, all I knew is I know what they do at the drive-in.
Yeah.
And I'm not going. And
Big Dave was on his way, wasn't he?
He doesn't even know me, and he's asking me to go to the drive-in. I'm not doing it, you bad guy. Little did I know that David was probably, I could only call him the choir boy probably, because he was sweet and innocent, carried a Bible in the back of his car, and he was going to the drive-in with his church youth group. And so I just assumed everything completely all wrong. So that's pretty much that conversation of don't assume things because it makes you look really bad. So I was thinking, I'm not going out with this guy. Which I have a fair share of handsy. I was just so naive in high school that I would find myself in awkward situations with touchy-feely guys, and I just wasn't ready for any of that. So I just didn't want to get in a situation. I have to say I was pretty smart for a young girl, that I just wasn't going to put myself in that type of situation that I'm stuck at a drive-in and, So
you've been turning me down for a long, long time.
Yes, this is decades. Yeah, decades of a no.
You just get immune to it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So to fast forward that story, so we would date, or we talk on the phone and do all that stuff, and I never did go to the drive-in with you.
Or the tennis match.
Yeah, well, I saw a couple of your tennis matches.
Not initially, not before we met.
No. And it wasn't I was playing hard to get at all.
No.
I wasn't. I just, but I remember, so then
you weren't driving yet and you couldn't get from point A to point B.
No. And so you had decided you were co-oping at the time. And I think your breakfast or your day was you worked at Foodland, and before you went to work, you watched Price is Right, or I thought you watched something. I can't remember. You told me that you would watch it every day before you went in. And so I totally forgot I was going to go with that. Amanda's taking pictures and it's freaking me out. So we talked for quite a while, and I remember thinking, oh, he's okay. I'll go out a few times with him. But, for people that say that they know your soulmate the minute you meet them, no, that's not true.
Yeah. I
mean, great for those that do. But I remember looking at you thinking, oh, he's okay for now. I mean, we'll go on. And then for some reason, we were friends. Well, I think I'm not trying to, I'm busting your chops.
No, this is awesome.
But I remember, I've told you this because I was just like, hey, he's okay, But I remember thinking, it wasn't anybody that just knocked your socks off, because what I had found is guys that I thought were really good looking, they didn't want to be your friend. They wanted to grope and grab you and, whatever. And then you had that embarrassment at school. So I just didn't do well in high school like that.
Yeah.
I just was my own thing. And, home life I had my own issues. So,
Do you remember our first meeting when we first met?
Yeah. Yeah. So I did tell my mom about it. You said, I'm going to pick you up after school. So you co-opt. So you were out at noon. I still was, like I said, a sophomore going into my junior year. So you said you were going to pick me up at school. And I was like, well, what kind of car do you drive? Not that I knew anything about a Berlinetta Camaro.
Yeah. Harry Camaro.
Harry Camaro was going to pick me up. And you said, I'll be out there. Well, I didn't know where to tell you to go. So I remember being so nervous that day. Just, oh my gosh. And I remember having a conversation with my mom. It's probably, I have to say, probably one of the best conversations I had with my mom. I don't have a lot of good things to remember on a lot because we of just life in general. But I remember having this conversation that this guy's going to pick me up after school. And my mom was really funny, at the time. She was funny. And she's like, what are you going to do if he's really ugly? Because I'd never seen you. I'd only seen a picture of you and talked to you. I think we talked for 2.5, almost 3 weeks before we ever decided to go.
Edging.
What? What do you mean? What?
Just keep going.
Oh, so I remember her saying, well, what if he's really ugly? And I was like, well, I don't know. She's like, well, you need to bring him by. And that way I can meet him, and I will just laugh really hard if he's ugly. then you'll know that I don't approve of him or something like that. So I remember you bringing me home.
Now that's a plan right there.
It was. I don't remember this.
We'll all gather around and we'll laugh at him in his face.
No. But I remember my mom saying that she was going to do
when he gets really confused, we'll send him home.
Do some type of joke or something like that. She's like, I'll just laugh and tease you or something if I think he's not all that or whatever. I can't remember what it was, but anyway. So I meet you and we go over there, and I remember just trying so hard to watch her behavior. Like, does she like him? Does she not? And she gave me 0. Like there was nothing. Like there was no it was nice to meet you, Dave, and that was about it. She didn't laugh. She didn't smile, and I was like, well, I don't know if she likes him or not. So then you take me to Rack's, which was the equivalent in Eastern Kentucky of Arby's.
Right, Rack's roast beef. Mm-hmm.
And it seems like every time I got around you, I got choked on food.
Which, is that the first day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you took me home. I changed clothes. We go to Rack's.
A lot of jokes in that, too.
Oh, yeah. So
I'm still trying to choke her 36 years later. Come on.
So we go to Rack's. And I can't even remember. It was diet, like it was a drink. It wasn't even any food, and I got choked, which is just precursor for the rest of our life. I got choked pregnant. I don't do well eating. Apparently, I'm quite the klutz. So I can remember that, and I got choked so hard that the whatever soda came out my nose. So that was pretty embarrassing.
That was day one.
Yeah, that was day one, and then I took you to go meet the horses.
Yeah,
that was all day one. So I took you to my cousin's barn to meet the horses.
Yeah,
I guess I don't.
So
I don't know what dude would want to go meet horses, but that was my world. At the time, as I rode horses and was in 4-H, and that's all I ever did.
Yeah,
which I think was pretty much just free labor, like stall labor.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like looking back on it now, that it was always, oh, you can ride the horses if you clean their stall. Oh, you can ride the horses if you saddle soap the leather saddles and bridles. And to this day, I'm not a horse person, but I think they're beautiful, but way too much work and too expensive. So
you mentioned it, that we went to different high schools, so kind of rival high schools back then. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they are now or not, but back then it kind of was. And so it was new for me to.
I don't know why, because you all spanked us all the time. Like we never won anything, hardly.
No, I don't think that's true. I think it goes back and forth, I think. So for me, I forgot about the co-op part. Yeah. So I remember parking in Ashland at the time, had like these weird circles or something like that. There was a roundabout or something like that in the middle of there was a cut through from 13th Street to the neighborhood street. You had your student parking lots and.
You're talking about at Blazer?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was a triangle.
Well, I don't know. I just remember something being there that I just remember parking off the side of the main building. So I found a spot there.
Yeah.
Waited on it.
It was straight off 16 Candles. It's like I was walking down the stairs and there's
Jake. Yeah.
Jake with his Camaro. Like, oh, yeah. I immediately ID'd you.
Yep. What was your thoughts?
Wow. Nice car.
Mine were nice tits.
Boy, he's scary. Or skinny. Skinny and scary. I don't know. No, you were cute. You were cute. You
didn't even hear my tits comment.
Well, no, you still think that.
All right. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
There ain't nothing different.
Nope.
No, you told me that because you still can describe what I was wearing. That's what's really funny. I don't even know what you were in. I'm sure it was Levi's. You were Levi's, and probably if you were co-oping, you would have been in button down. You always wore button down, rolled your sleeves up.
Yeah, if
I think you were in a t-shirt, so I'm sure it was not Ranger because that's what.
I probably wasn't working that day, or I don't know. Yeah, you were in it's a gray and pink,
peach and gray
striped
horizontal
shirt.
Stripes. I will never
horizontal stripes. Yeah,
never wear horizontal stripes again in my life because I probably was a little tiny thing back then.
Yep. And some type of faded jeans or something like that.
Boobs.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sure they were acid washed.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. And I didn't remember I remember going to Rack's, but I don't remember that being the first day. Yeah, I do.
Oh.
Yeah. But I didn't think that was our
That was embarrassing.
Our first place. And then I remember going out to the horses too, but I think we did it several times, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You never rode one, did you? The horses? You never did.
No, not out there.
Did you ever get to see me ride? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I think shortly after we started hanging out I don't think you went out there much more.
Well, I found boys. I was given the ultimatum at the time that you're either in it dedicated to these horses or not. And I was like, well,
see you later.
I got to go. There's some boys calling my name. Got to go. I do miss riding. I really do miss it. I enjoyed it. And I was super strong. But, yeah, it just takes too much time. Hats off to farmers and horse people because I like my warm bed too much.
Do you remember? Do you remember what day it is that we met?
What day?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was after your prom.
No, I've got it wrong.
Oh,
yeah.
What?
Yep.
You've got something wrong?
Yep.
So no, we started talking in April or May.
Yeah.
Because your tennis matches were still going on, and that May you would have been done with regionals. And then you went to prom. You'd already gone to prom with some chick. I don't remember. That's how I saw that was your junior prom.
I think we had that already in the works before we started talking. I
don't remember. But then, so we officially started dating the night of your graduation, which would have been May 27th, 1988.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. Mark that one down.
Yeah,
I got one right.
You did get one right.
And I'm watching your body language just to make sure I was like,
27.
So it's confusing because, of course, hindsight, when we go get married, everybody's like, oh, you can't get married on a Friday, because the 27th was on a Friday. And so what did we do? We listened to our family and we got married on the 28th. So those that are listening, do what you want to do. If you want to get married on a Friday, get married on a Friday. Yeah.
So we came up with the idea later on when we decided to get married that
after you got the ultimatum.
After I got the ultimatum. Yeah. That we would, the goal would be to get married on the same day that we started dating, May 27th.
Correct.
And so I had family coming in from out of town and travel schedules. They asked if we could move it and, not knowing, being young and naive, whatever else we did.
We're people pleasers.
We're people pleasers.
Try to please the family. And
now at this point in life, we'd say we're getting married on this day. And if you make it, you make it. And if you don't,
we probably wouldn't even do that. We'd be like, we're going to Hawaii or we're going to a beach.
Oh, that's for sure. Yeah.
You're not even invited. Let's go.
That's for sure.
And then my whole side of the family, I had to worry about who was sitting in what side of the church, in the front or the back, to keep them all from scrapping and fighting. So you can imagine, because that's one thing too. I mean, so going back to that, I was extremely intimidated of you, and I still am. Mm-hmm. We talk about that a lot. Mm-hmm. And I don't want people to think when I say I'm intimidated of him that it's because you're mean or anything like that. You're just, people tell you that girls are drawn to men like that are important in their life. So, for example, mine was my grandfather. You have a lot of his characteristics. You are very patient. So the pressure always to never disappoint you is we've talked about this even this last week, that it's almost too much to bear sometimes because you don't want to disappoint somebody. But anyway, I totally forgot what I was going to go with that. I started thinking about Papa. So, shoot, I lost my train of thought.
We are so glad to have Ugly Tent as a sponsor to the show. My longtime friend Kenny Dietrich is a subject matter expert in modern survival, bushcrafting, and preparedness. As he challenges on the show, be prepared for the disaster most likely to happen to you. But let me tell you, Ugly Tent is so much more than just disaster preparedness. You need to check out the website at uglytent.com. That's UGLYTENT.com for a complete list of their products, their classes, and all the services that Kenny offers. There's a lot that I think you'll find interesting at uglytent.com. Again, just a neat place to go. So whether it's for camping, maybe it's a hike, maybe it's just trying to be in the outdoors for a little bit, uglytent.com is filled with the products and the services that you want. Not to mention you have a true expert as a resource for you. Listen, while you're there, use the promo code JUDE. That's lowercase JUDE. And that code will get you 10% off your total purchase. That's a pretty good deal for some really cool stuff. Anyway, check out Kenny at uglytent.com. I don't know. All right, we'll come back to it. We'll come back. Yeah. So graduation weekend was, I think, that weekend, yeah. Right? But I almost blew it that weekend.
Did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Phew. Well, you got to go back too. You were in a band, so this is the other thing. So
I've got a band question.
Oh, did I fall in love with David because he was in a band? No, just that's foreshadowing for later. But anyway, so they were all, and they anyway. We've got that story too of you and the chairs.
So that's what we wrote down. So when we were talking with,
oh my gosh,
I guess it was with Kenny, right? No. Yeah, in our Q&A show that just got out, we had brought up some of the Amanda had asked me about playing in bands and music and that type of stuff. So I started to tell her about Battle Axe, and I was like, nope, save that for next week for Stacy.
Okay.
So
all right, so we started dating. I think I saw your church thing before we actually officially started dating. We were still really
maybe the get to know you phase.
I think we were. So you
because Becky and Kenny went to church at the same spot, and so it may have been just, hey, come hang out.
I think it was. I don't remember how I got there. I think it was it Wildwood? Is that where? I don't know where we were. But anyway, so you all were going to put on some type of little Christian rock band performance, whatever, and then
better than Striper.
Oh, whatever. You guys were a hot mess. But anyway, so I just remember, and in I swear to this day, I'm going to find you a sequin blazer jacket because that's what you said you always wanted to play in.
Yeah.
Which now that we've been to Florida and stuff, it could be Ric Flairish, I have to say. But anyway, so you had a pink, did you not? You had jeans, your Night Ranger shirt, and then like a pink jacket. And of course, that was the time that you rolled up the sleeves on the blazer.
Well, I don't know if I played that show there. This band played at a state youth convention or something, and I played in the pink blazer with Cinderella, because Cinderella written across the top was in that same pink as the jacket. So not only was I fashionable, I matched.
He has fashion.
I had fashion. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but I don't know what I played at the
I just remember how
church.
Tall and skinny you were.
Yeah.
And all I saw was legs. It went flying.
So I was trying to impress this hot chick that I'm getting to know. Mm-hmm. And, guys being guys and trying to do whatever. So Guys are dumb. So we had set up for this show inside, I guess it's their auditorium type of thing. And keep in mind I think we only knew like 5 songs or something like that. And so we would just play them over.
I don't even remember that.
I don't even know if we played them over. It may have we may have just played the 5 songs and an instrumental or something like that. And
God,
it's really pretty funny.
What a mess.
Yeah.
I was pretty nervous.
I need to bring in that guitar because that's the one I say I'm going to hang on the wall because it doesn't tune. It was super glued.
I was going to say in the like the whatever that's the fret, the nut on the top. Yeah, it's got super glue with the strings on it.
Yeah, so I didn't even really know how to tune. I just the nut was broken, and so I would super glue the strings in instead of just getting it fixed or buying a guitar. Super glued. Yeah, they were super glued, and so I had to learn whatever songs based on the strings being super glued in position. It's awesome. So I have no idea what I was playing. I just had to memorize. Yeah. Anyway, so here we are at this church, and people are starting to come in, and Stacy's there, and so we had just a stereotypical fold up chairs there for the hordes of young groupies and fans that would be joining us later. But anyway, before that happened, to impress you, I thought it would be fun to run across the top of the chairs,
aka folding chairs.
Yeah. And I made it pretty close to the end.
Yeah, you did. You were nothing. I mean, that's one thing. So we're complete opposites. Like, I have no legs and all torso. David has all long legs, just very long legs. And so that's all I saw was just legs flying through the air.
Yeah. So I was making it, because you had to step over top, and I was running from back to front. So, just so the crowd can see it. So, as you step, you had to step over the back and then ideally on the front of the chair so that the thing didn't fold up.
But you did not do that.
Yeah, when it got to the end, I guess I was getting too close to you or something.
Too tired. That was it.
Had no stamina, maybe. I don't know.
The chairs
got me.
folded.
The chairs folded.
Then
and
ate your legs.
David folded too.
So then I'm thinking, well, do you you poor thing, because in your kid mind of oh, you're going to save, that's how girls fantasize all the time about, the prince saves them or whatever. I was like, do you run over and be like, oh, you poor baby, or do you just ignore it like it didn't happen? And I just remember thinking, man, I feel bad for him.
What an idiot.
I was like, he's an idiot. Then I kept thinking, I can't, that hurts. And you're like, I'm fine.
No,
thinking,
it didn't hurt.
I was like, I don't know how it didn't hurt.
I don't know how it didn't hurt either, because it was the chairs folded up on me, in me, around me.
Oh, yeah, you were.
Knocked down the rows.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
there was some serious resetting up the chairs and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, it was good.
I mean, it's epic enough that 36 years later, we're sitting here talking about the chairs. So, yeah, it was epic enough.
We must have a history of this, because me getting choked, and then you did that, and then I remember I was at Angie and Greg's, another church, Angie and Greg's bridal shower. So this would have been, I think, after we started dating, and I was there with my sister, and you were going to pick me up at the shower, and I got so excited when I come running out of the church. Do you remember that?
I do now.
I come running out of the church in a skirt, and I probably was wearing those freaking Dr. Scholl's hard-soled shoes, or what were those other ones? God, what's the name? Candies. Or the candies, like the hills that were slide. I come flying down that hill, and I literally hit a speed bump. And I couldn't stop. And I ended up underneath a Volkswagen.
Yeah.
And I remember you just looking at me like, what in the world? And I mean, I had road rash and the whole deal, but I was so excited to see you. And I was like, I'm going to hop over and skip to him. Oh, no.
Yeah.
That ended badly.
That's
I
all
don't know
mine.
how I didn't dent the car. I mean, I end up under the car. We have no.
Yeah.
It's always stupid stuff like that with us. It's just crazy stuff.
So we're, let's get back to me almost messing up here. So it's graduation weekend.
Yeah. Okay.
And so me not knowing, right, because I didn't have really any girlfriends. I had a couple girlfriends here or there, nothing serious, didn't really date anybody, and really wasn't my thing, I guess. As much as I wanted it to be, it just never did. But so what was I going to say?
I've heard about them youth group. That little youth group getaway. Yeah, your hands went a little touchy there.
No, you're messing things up. You're getting your stories
all right,
all discombobulated. Anyway,
it's all a blur anyway.
Yeah, so I had family come in, and I didn't call or anything. So we've been talking every day really since, and I spent my time with family.
You didn't call at all.
Yeah,
at all.
Yeah,
for days.
And that's when you knew.
Well, kind of, because I got mad. And then I kept calling, and your dad sounded so much younger on the phone than an older, because at the time I knew his dad was gray haired. So I just expected when I called, because, girls didn't call guys back then. That's not very well viewed upon. And I probably kind of feel that way still. Like you don't, to me, you just don't pursue the guy. But anyway, that's kind of weird, but whatever. I remember kept calling, and he kept answering the phone, and I swear I thought it sounded like a younger man, like you. So I kept thinking I had the wrong number. So I kept calling and then just hanging up. So your dad was probably getting so pissed because he's like, who is this person calling? And of course, that's before we had, star 69 or caller ID or anything. But
right.
Yeah, you didn't call for days. And then I got really pissed. I was really pissed. And then I can't say that I was mad about that. But then, I still was like, whatever. And you gave me some excuse that you were hanging out with your family. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Okay. Which little did I know that you all do have a really cool family. I mean, Your family is very tight knit. They do a lot of stuff together. And, I didn't grow up with that, so I didn't understand it.
Yeah. And I really was.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
So once again, don't assume stuff. But then right after that, I remember thinking, he's still okay. We'll go out a few times. And when it runs its course, it runs its course. And then Andrea started calling. Don't know this girl from Adam. I went to high school with her.
Yeah.
Knew about her. She was beautiful, blonde, very, very pretty. Probably had brown eyes too, which is, the soft spot. But apparently, I don't know how she decided to start calling you. And man, that was like the green jealous monster came out of nowhere.
So that was my neighbor, right? The one that lived in my neighborhood.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Huh, really?
Andrea. Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah.
No?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know she lived there.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure. I'm 100%
I'm like,
sure.
oh, this is a new one. Oh.
No.
Fast forward 40 years later. Hey, what? Who?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure it's a Foodland thing.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know her, so I didn't know how the connection was or why she started calling you. I just figured she's chasing after my guy.
No, somehow we kind of got to the talking point or something like that, and I remember going over to her house.
What?
Yeah.
I don't remember any of this.
Well, here we are. So I'm trying to tell you. But I don't know how close this was. Was it at the same time? I guess it was at the same time.
I had to have been because I remember getting very jealous, and I'm not normally that jealous. I mean, I do have some jealous tendencies, but not.
Well, I went over to her house, and it wasn't like me trying to date her. It was because there was a group of us kids where I lived, and she lived across the street from one of the guys I would hang out with in the neighborhood. And so I remember like a collective of us riding bikes or whatever had gone over to her house, and somehow we had got to the point of maybe talking, and I remember going over and there wasn't any connection at all. So, for me, I
never knew that.
Yeah. So I'm, either I don't or don't know how to chase or whatever that case is, but there was just nothing there. So I left thinking, okay, that's fine. That's just what it is. And, so I don't think there was ever anything more to that than maybe some passing interest or something like that, but it really went nowhere. It really had nothing. There was no merit to it at all.
She's a lot prettier than me.
No, that's not true.
You messed up.
Maybe I did. Maybe we'll look her up.
She's probably huge and haggard now. Who knows?
Maybe.
Who knows?
Yep.
So that's how we met, I guess.
Yep. So that's it. That's how we met. That's the whole show. Right. So you're thinking about hiring a private investigator, huh? Think knowledge, experience, and trust. Think DPJ Consulting. Listen, we're the folks you want on your team. Whether it's a criminal matter, corporate, or administrative issue, or maybe something more personal, you need to make the right choice for you. Our house of expertise at DPJ Consulting can help you with investigations, and that can mean a whole lot of different things. Pre-employment background checks, personal VIP security, and so much more. Check us out at dpjconsulting.com. Follow us on all of our social media platforms, or give us a call at 855-TEAM-DPJ. That's 855-TEAM-DPJ. Give us a call. It costs nothing to talk. It costs you everything if we don't.
What else you want to say? Like, we're not making this very interesting for people. I guess the whole point was to, a lot of people sometimes see us and you got to remember that what's on social media isn't what always is in people's home lives. But I can tell you pretty confidently and pretty accurately that what you see, the garbage I put on there about you and how all foo-foo, voo-voo, that's how I feel. I mean, it's pretty, we don't, I guess I'm trying to say, like, I see people always post these very fake posed pictures. We're just not that way. We never have been. And so people will see them and be like, gosh, you all been together how long? And I'm like, forever. And actually that's our joke to everybody's like, too long. But, I think it's important that everybody, maybe that's the difference with people now, is just we were friends really before anything went on. And good Lord, God knows how long we dated before we did anything. But
a long time.
I can't believe you didn't run. But
I know.
Anyway, just it's important, I think, for people to be friends and know each other before you really jump into a relationship. But I say that, and on the other hand, like I said, my mom knew my stepdad a month. They got married and they lasted 13 years before he passed away. So, I mean, you can see it both ways. I think that's what's worked for us. I'm not saying it's right for everybody, but
yeah, that's right.
It's important.
We found our thing and we did it.
And at the time, I wouldn't have said that I don't think I would have thought you were my soulmate, but like now, I think it's really important that you grow old together. I just don't get these people that are married for 3 or 4 months and then they divorce. You don't even know anybody. Excuse me. At that point, you haven't even begun to know each other.
It feels like the relationships, those type of relationships are just, they're not an organically grown relationship. You know, that's just hey, I like you, I'm banging you, you're banging me, and I love you, and let's get married and live happily ever after. And you don't know people enough, I don't think. So, I mean, as opposed to, it took us a long time to get there. Well,
and we were a different era. Like, I don't know, I can't imagine being in the single world right now. Like, I can't imagine. But, you know, for us,
it'd be transactional.
Yeah, I'd be like, no, I've got my own house. You got to go.
Here's what I'm after. Yeah. If you can help me with this, great.
To me, it was the era we were growing up in. You know, everything was, it was a different time. It was a different time. And so it was really important. You know, I didn't have a lot of stability in my life. Right. And, you know, after meeting you, you're very calm. I think that's where I was going with the whole Papal thing. You have a lot of his characteristics. So even doing this podcast, I'm really stressed out because I don't want to disappoint you in things that I might say or do or stuff like that. And I don't want people to get the wrong idea that you're controlling, because you're not. You're the most giving person.
Say what you want. I've already learned I'm like 4th on the list of being chosen.
Yeah, well, you know, but you're just you've always been that way. You're a very considerate and have been. And people that know you, even in your former careers too, would be like, he's not the typical, you know, people think you as you write them a ticket. You were just always very respectful and things like that.
I've always tried hard not to be, I think I used to say, I want to be just like nobody else. And so I've always tried to live by that. Yeah. Well,
you did pretty good, I have to say.
Still working on it, but yeah.
You know, as far as me, you just always have seemed like you're very well put together. And you know, I'm curious if it's upbringing, the home life or whatever, because I just am a hot mess and always have been a hot mess. So we're definitely opposites. Like, you're very.
So Becky was right. We're either going to clash or.
Hell yeah. She probably didn't even have any words to put it in for, you know, to be honest with you. I mean, she was a great friend.
Indeed. Yeah.
You know, I had a couple girlfriends. I wouldn't ever say that I was ever, like I said, ever that close to girls. Right. Just because I guess I just didn't get into the whole high school thing. I thought people were very catty. I got made fun of a lot. I wasn't popular. I mean, academically I was okay, but I was very average. I wasn't above average. So you were either jock or you were smarty pants, you know? And so I just didn't fit in. And so, you know, after meeting you, it was kind of interesting because you never made me feel that way, but that's what I was going to go back to. It was very difficult at first meeting you because your parents were still married. Mm-hmm. They're still married all these years later. You were from the county. You lived in a very wealthy house. I considered you extremely wealthy, and I was not. I mean, I was a scrapper, and, you know, I was from a broken home, and, you know, there was issues in the past with domestic violence and, you know, not with my dad.
No, I understand.
I don't say that other.
You didn't say that,
issues,
so let them. Yeah.
So it was just different. And I can remember thinking, you know, I don't think this isn't going to last because he's in a different social economic status as me. And I mean, that still plays a part at times because I mean,
that still continues today.
Yeah. Your dad, you know, I felt like I didn't want to be judged. I felt like, you know, college, I probably wouldn't have went to college. I was the first person in my family to go to college. And I felt a lot of pressure from your parents saying, you know, this is the expectation that you're going to go to college. And so,
did they ever say that to you? Like that? Or did you just feel the pressure?
I felt the pressure, but I would say probably your mom, was just the expectation that people were successful and that they went to college. I mean, not in a horrible way. It was just the pressure, which was okay because I didn't have the support at the time, even in my own home life.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've posted about it on Facebook that, you know, I had a teacher take interest in me, which is probably the first teacher in my whole life that ever did, that she encouraged me to actually be a surgical technician. She thought my dissection on my anatomy mink was wonderful. And I don't even know what the hell a surgical tech is, but my avenue out of Eastern Kentucky was to go to nursing school.
Yeah.
And I can remember the whole time in school, they'd be like, if you're just in it for the money, you're never going to make it. And I thought, well, no, I love science. I love the human body. Always did well in those subjects. It's a really good paycheck and I'm not the one getting the shots. So I'll learn to do it. I'll figure it out. And, I made a career of it. I absolutely loved it. I have that caring aspect, but it also hardened you to where, once you clock out, you don't want to be bothered. So I feel bad for you guys because anytime you ever got sick, I'd be like, suck it up. You're fine. Walk it off. You're good. But, so I think that's deep embedded because I still feel that way. I still feel at times that you're just,
the pressure and intimidation piece.
Yeah. I feel like you're very out of my league. Always have been, that I'm literally a couple generations away from just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I hope you know that I don't feel that way.
No, you would have left a long time ago. A couple of my redneck wild episodes, you'd be like, girl, you too much for me. I got to go.
Mm-hmm.
But no, you've always been really encouraging and just always encouraged me to do stuff for myself, so be it career. And I think the majority of my life was overcompensating in my career to try to make up that type of ground. Now that I'm older, I just don't care. When you're older, you realize that it's relationships.
Yeah, it's not that you don't care. It's just a change of priorities and a change of perspective. I mean, there's a whole different lens, I guess, to use a cliche. There's a whole different lens we would look at stuff now versus way back when. But you can't develop that lens until you go through it.
Mm-mm. No, I think back like even in our 20s, how young and stupid we were, and just I can't imagine like our wedding. Like these things with our wedding and stuff like that, just now that you're so much older, things are so different.
What would you do different about the wedding?
I wouldn't have I don't know if I'd have gotten married, but I definitely wouldn't have had a wedding. I wouldn't have eloped. And
our wedding was a small wedding. It wasn't, it was a church wedding. But it wasn't like this big production. And I don't know that productions, I guess they still are that way, but it wasn't this big production. It was just meant to be a stereotypical church wedding where my family comes in, your family comes in, and we get married. And
I don't know. I mean, I thought it was probably one of the hardest times I think in my life is around that age. Cause I was living with Dad, Mom, and them were in Florida. So I
think that's when I first knew that you and I are going to be together. Cause you stayed back for me.
I did.
Yeah. You didn't go to Florida.
That was tough.
Your stepdad came in and said, "Hey, we're moving to Florida." And your mom said, "All right."
I don't think Gary put it that way. Like I have a lot of accolades for my stepdad. He was a wonderful, wonderful man. Sometimes I really question how long they stayed together, but anyway, they wanted to move to Florida. And of course I already had that stereotype of you being better than me. You're richer. You don't have a broken home. They're both successful. To get in your senior year of school of saying, or junior year, it was my junior year, them saying, hey, we're going to sell off everything, the house, everything, and we're going to buy a RV and live in a trailer park in Florida. And I flipped out. That was like, and when you look back on that for a kid's standpoint, that was horrible. Like I can't imagine, because you're so into trying to be somebody. Like now, we're thinking, how can we sell our stuff and go get an RV in Florida right now? Like it's okay now. But so it's funny how you take this whole world. It was devastating back then. Absolutely, I'm not going. If I have to live on the street, I'm going to live on the street. I'm not going. To where now, I totally get why they wanted to do it. I hate the winters here. I'd want to go to Florida too. So it's neat to actually. It's a whole lot of forgiveness, a whole lot of stuff that you're kind of like, well, I think it's a great idea now, but can you imagine telling a teenager, hey, this is what we're doing? Yeah. Because it just reinforced that I'm not going to be good enough for David. So I stayed back behind, or tried to figure it out. Deep down, I was truly hoping that your parents would allow me to stay there because I knew it was a very stable home. And at that time, I did not have a relationship with my dad at all, really at all. So they said they were going, and kudos to them. I mean, I've never faulted them for going, but it's hard as a 17-year-old. You need your mom. But they went, and I chose to reconcile my relationship with my dad. It just so happened that his bitch of an ex-wife left him pretty much because of it, and so I literally walked into that house with bare wires hanging from the ceiling. She left dog food out for him with notes. I mean, it was bad. And so as an 18-year-old, I became like the woman of the house. And so I was working, and I can remember at 18 years old would go buy groceries and fix dinner. And, that's just now that you're older as a parent, that's just shit I would never do to somebody or whatever. So I can remember.
It's also what's crafted us though, right? I mean, it's about maybe breaking some of those generational behaviors, et cetera.
Yeah. And a lot of this, it all hit, which, this is all about Valentine's Day, and I don't want to get off topic, but, I'm quite the piece of work.
Right.
But
now you see why podcasts take 2.5 hours.
Oh, shit. But I really, a lot of this never really hit until about 4 years ago. And I started having a lot of recollection about younger years and just stress. And I don't know if it was because my daughter was getting married, and then she was, getting ready to have a baby, so like it really hit 2 years ago when she turned up pregnant. And so it's not
turned up.
Oh, shit. Sorry. No, it's just.
How'd that happen?
God. You need to stop. So I don't know if that was it. I don't know if just you flip into a different section of your life, because none of this stuff ever bothered me. I just was the eager beaver, you would say, going out and really pushing the career just to prove something, and just to be somebody. And then just over time, little stuff just starts getting in your head. Like, you question if you're a good mom, or you question if you're a good wife, and things like that. And I think it's just later in life where you are in your life. But yeah, it kind of crafted who I am. It made me a very independent person. I learned real quick how to be an adult, so as far as our wedding, we paid for everything. We always have. I put myself through school. I think my grandfather assisted me the first semester with books and tuition. And I had a great bunch of people at the college saying, hey, this is what you need to do to get financial aid and things like that. So, hindsight, I would have loved to have gone to medical school, but that wasn't I didn't have that knowledge base.
Yeah.
Like that just wasn't in our family. Like I didn't know that was a possibility in the world, And so as an adult, I've always tried to push that onto the kids or whatever is you can do anything you want, we'll figure out a way. And so it wasn't even on my plate.
I don't know if I really had that guidance either. Funny you talked about you didn't feel like you fit in. I think that's probably a teenager thing maybe, but yeah. So, I kind of felt the same thing. If you need to, do your thing.
I can. Okay.
Got it. Yeah. We're learning new stuff here too. We never really take too many breaks. So that was a nice little quick pee break.
It's that gigantic pink drink I'm drinking.
So we were talking about you saying you didn't fit in. I don't think I did either. I had a core group of friends that I'm still friends with today, which is pretty special.
Yeah, very much so.
But I didn't really know where I fit either, in high school and those type of things. So, and I think young people are looking for who they can connect with, whatever.
Yeah.
So we kind of found ourselves, and to the point of the wedding, you'd mentioned, we paid for everything, and we did. And so we got married 6 years after dating. It took us 6 years, and we can come back to the the engagement part, the ultimatum. But
that's fun.
Yeah, so we were getting established in a working and career and stuff at that point. So it wasn't like we were kids, but typically the father of the bride is supposed to pay, and those type of things weren't going to happen. Yeah. And so for us,
nor did we expect them to.
Nor did we expect them to.
We've never asked for stuff like that,
because we had by this point had moved to Lexington. We were living together in an apartment in Lexington.
Living in sin.
Yep. And so, we wouldn't have come back. We were at a different spot. I don't think we would have just not come back and say, hey, Dad, you need to pay for this. But
no.
So to the point, but, we paid for it. You did all the flowers, all the decor, all the decorations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had your mom helped me a lot. It was just interesting. So the viewpoints, as soon as I got out of nursing school, I still left stuff at my dad's house. I packed and left, didn't even look back. So we got an apartment down here, and you originally your parents had moved. So we need to back up on that. I was very isolated as a senior and in college. So, David was a couple of years older than me. So once he got out, it was, he did the ACC and got his little 2-year degree or whatever. Then it was time for him to go to the big college. So, that left me alone. And so,
so Dad had retired, took him he finished up a degree, and then he got a job down in Richmond, Kentucky.
Yeah.
And so he came home and said, "Do you want to go to Eastern? We're moving."
Yeah.
And put the house up for sale.
And you went?
Yeah.
Left me after I was like, stayed for you. You're like, deuces. No, I'm teasing.
Yeah. You're teasing because
I'm teasing.
I came home every weekend to the empty house and we had house there. Right.
Yeah, that was. So I'd go check on your house because you still had Pumpkin the cat. So I'd check on her. And then, because it took a little bit to sell your all's house. So they both moved to Richmond. You went to college there. And then I guess it was a year or two later. Like I wasn't to me, we're from the next town over was like so far away where I laugh it's across town, Lexington now. Like I wouldn't think anything about driving back and forth, but that was a big deal back then. I mean, we just didn't.
Well, we were young. I mean,
we just
now I wouldn't think anything driving from Lexington to Ashland, but
yeah, that was a big deal.
Back then it was.
But I can remember, trying to drive up and see you at Richmond. I've never been good at doing stuff against the rules. So I can always remember, staying at the Thrifty Dutchman. Like there was one time I was there, I was scared to death.
Yeah.
Or scared to death to go to see your dorm room because I might get caught, or whatever. So those were good times. But yeah, as far as the wedding, I got out of nursing school. We got an apartment in Lexington, and then you were, backing up. We thought you were going to go into computer science. So Princess here thought she'd just work a few years as a nurse, and then
Yep.
all of David's cousins are in the computer science industry, and they make quite a nice salary. So I thought, Princess will just work a little bit, and then she'll just be trophy wife.
Yep.
And 30 hours shy of his business degree in computer science, he decided he was going to be a cop.
Yep.
Yeah. Totally different salaries.
Yep. Completely different salaries.
Since the old career choice for the rest of my life, I was like, okay, great.
Yep.
But yeah, so we decided to get married, and I feel really bad because, you can set that whole scenario up, but I pretty much gave you an ultimatum that you were pretty happy living with the nurse making the money for about a year. And was this ever going to go anywhere? Because we were together. It was 6 years.
Yeah. Well, even before then, we're talking about when we had moved to Richmond, I still came home every weekend. Mm-hmm. I lived with Kenny for a while.
I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
Totally forgot about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so there were even times when Kenny was gone and I would still come in.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. Would live because I was staying there on the weekends and still working at a shoe store or I think Radio Shack came later. I was still at Rack Room Shoes. Because I could work down there and here.
Piercing ears.
Yeah. Yeah. So to the engagement, I don't remember exactly what the ultimatum was, but we'd been dating for 6 years or so. And somewhere along the line, you put it out there, either we're going to get married or we're not. We're going to be done.
It probably was a PMS moment, to be honest with you. Like, I don't remember. I just probably was pissed at picking up your shit around the house or something. I don't know. I don't remember. But I do remember thinking you're very comfortable in the salary, because that was a big thing. Is his, kudos to his mom and dad, but they were very, we disagree with you moving in together, and if you're going to move in together, then you're on your own financially. So like college wise, we had to pay for your college, and so we just knew we were on our own, and that's fine. I mean, that's the way it should be. If we're moving out, why do you want a crutch? But, we decided to do this wedding and just pay for it. And your mom helped me do everything, like rent the candelabras and just all that stuff. And, it was a good time. But if I think about it, like, in my opinion, weddings, and, I'm not Catholic. I don't know. Everybody's religion is probably different, but I just feel like they are for show. Like, now that I know you, conversations are so important for an intimate standpoint that was literally for show. Was the dress, the this, or whatever, is all for show.
Yeah.
So our daughter, to add to that, our daughter decided that when she was going to get married, first they were going to elope. Little did we weren't going to tell them that we were going to show up wherever they eloped to and just be there. So that probably would have been quite the damper. But, they had talked about going to Hawaii, and we thought, oh my, we're just going to show up. But they ended up doing like the destination wedding. And in my opinion, that's the best thing that could have ever happened. It was so non-stressful.
Yeah.
And we just pay money. We bought the dress you wanted. We go pay X amount of dollars. You show up, they hand you your bouquet. You say what you got to say. And it was great.
Yeah.
Versus like I stressed. I mean, I was sick our wedding.
Yeah.
I was coughing. I mean, I was so stressed out because none of my family got along. And so you had to sit one group in the front of the church, another group in the back of the church. And little did I know that during the wedding, it was either Randy or Mark set somebody on the wrong side. The wrong family was on the wrong side of the church. Like, it's just stuff that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mean that rude, but it doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter that Grandma Rowe was on my side, the bride's side or whatever. Who cares,
Yeah.
It was great, whatever. So,
unless you're part of that family.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I was worried, just how, what if the two grandparents that have been divorced for 90,000 years, what if they start scrapping? I mean, because we're Eastern Kentucky, so it was just way too stressful.
Well, we just didn't know. Yeah. So to the engagement part. So I went and got an engagement ring. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
Red Lobster
took us to dinner. And so Mark and Pam is who we went to dinner with.
We just saw them this Christmas.
Uh-huh.
Still friends with everybody. So that's important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's part of my friend group that I've had since high school. So anyway,
I thought Pam was a weirdo though, because she kept putting her hands in Mark's pants, saying, "I just love to put my hands in Mark's pockets." Yeah. And I kept thinking, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Yeah. So little did I know what was getting ready to happen. So.
Yeah. So they knew that I had the engagement ring. And so
in your pocket,
in my pocket, carrying it with me. So she was doing her best to
get me just to put my hands in your pocket.
Yeah, without saying anything.
If Pam should know me, I never put my hands in your pockets. So. Yeah. We'd still be waiting.
No kidding.
Poor Dave.
Yeah. Yeah.
She just kept doing it at dinner, and I kept thinking, what is she like? We're in a restaurant. Get your hands out of his pants, or whatever. But I think she just was trying to get me to, oh, that's cute. I'll put my hand in Dave's pocket and then find the ring. But it didn't work out that way.
Fortunately, it didn't work out that way. So we got back to our apartment.
You're going to ask me, and I don't know it.
Yeah.
I know it's coming.
Yeah. I put on a Van Halen song, which is one of my all-time favorites, so obviously. Yeah, you got two choices. I won't put you on the spot.
You put me on the spot. It's always
but that's a funny story too, right? So the song was "When It's Love" by Van Halen off the OU812 album. So the funny story of the lyrics of music is I don't have a clue on lyrics.
No,
I don't have any idea on lyrics, and I've listened to Van Halen since I could turn on a radio, I suppose. And I can get through.
You could name the notes.
Yeah, I could probably play the song, and I could probably tell you.
You won't know lyrics at all.
Warner Brother Records and when it was recorded and who sang what and who's on the liner notes and what type of instrument they played. And, I could probably do all those things. But I don't know lyrics. So I just remember, how do you know when it's love? That's part of the chorus.
Sorry.
I don't even know the next part. How do you know when it's love? Something, but it lasts forever. Yeah.
So that's how you picked it?
Yeah, here, we'll play it.
What's the other one? This is the one I always think it.
Love Walks In.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's all sentimental giving me.
There it is. So I cranked this up at the apartment.
About volume 12.
Yeah. Trying to make it
a Radio Shack humongo speakers that are as big as my ass.
Yeah, in a paper thin apartment complex, trying to make this romantic moment so I can propose to you.
Yeah.
And this is the song. Of course, the neighbors are.
Yeah, bang! Turn that shit down. Oh yeah, it was great. I'm just thinking, what in the world? Like we go out to Red Lobster, and what? So he's on his knee during this, and then of course it kicks into their big rock. So.
Yeah, that's true. It kicks in this big loud.
So what's funny is I never can seem to remember because I like lyrics to songs. So if I see a song that has lyrics, that's what I think. So Love Comes Walking In, literally sitting there talking about the chick in a silken gown, like standing there in a silken gown down the aisle. So for 40 years now, or 30 years, I'm always thinking it's that song, so I'll take a picture in the car or something on XM and send it to him. He's like, wrong song, honey. Wrong song, honey. It's like, well, in my mind, it was the right lyrics. I don't know what you're playing.
And only within the last month did you tell me about the lyrics to Love Walks In being about
Oh, did I? I thought you knew him.
No, this is just like a month ago or
That's
something.
why I
You told
can't
me.
ever keep that song straight.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I mean, kudos to you. You love that song. That's great. But it does not stay in my memory for all these years.
Oh, I think that's just a badass tune, not even still today. Let's talk a minute about sex. Sex is part of life. It's beautiful and it's essential to living a great life. Enter my friends at Shameless Care, who have created something cool for your personal health care. Shameless Care offers a variety of products you may be interested in. ED treatments, STI treatments, STD testing. So how does it work? Well, that's the easy part. You go to shamelesscare.com, you choose the product you're interested in, you complete an online questionnaire, which is reviewed by a medical doctor, by the way. Pay for the product, and in a couple of days, discreet packaging arrives right to your doorstep. Their customer service is second to none. They're always responsive, and they care. Listen, Ashley's the best. Tell her I said hello. They're a small business ran by people like you and me, and they're incredible. The best part? We can save you some money. Click on the link in the show notes. Use the code JUDE at checkout. It's JUDE. And save $30 on your first purchase. That's not bad, huh? Visit our website to learn more. Shamelesscare.com. And don't forget the promo code JUDE.
So yeah, that's the engagement. Meanwhile, the neighbors banging on the walls to turn that shit down.
Yep, turn it down. Yep.
Yeah, it's good times.
Yep.
Good times. We've had some good times though. So we got really, I think, married really young. Well, I wouldn't say young. We were 24.
So I was 24 and
23, 22, something like that. And then, like every couple, people go through harder times. We were together 10 before we ever had our daughter. And I think that was quite a challenge because I didn't realize how much we were Mutt and Jeff. We were, I wouldn't say set in our ways. It's just, it's different. Mm-hmm. Different. So like couples that get married and immediately have a kid, that's probably, I'll have to say, it's probably a good thing,
Yeah. Gosh, when you think about that, so we had been married 5 years when we had Rach.
Yeah. And we had been together 6 before then. So it was 10 or 11 years together before we ever had her. And so that
gosh, you look back on it now and that's like at the beginning of our marriage. And I would have never guessed that, but yeah, it really was.
And then,
wow.
I think what else? Oh, and speaking of the honeymoon. Yeah. So we go on our honeymoon, and that's when you got your call from Metro to come back and take your exam. So we left the honeymoon early so you could come back and sit for your cop exams. Yeah. So I remember that. We weren't gone that long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good times.
Good times. It was a favorite place that we've traveled together. The
cruise, I would say. I've never really been out of the country or done much of anything, but when you retired, we cashed out some stuff, and he said he was going to take me on a trip of a lifetime. So we went on a cruise. This was 6 years ago, I think it was, and did Costa Maya, Cozumel, Honduras, Belize.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Well, we'd never done a cruise before, and we heard a lot of people talk about them, so we decided to do one. And we upgraded to the balcony room, and
yeah, that was cool.
Yeah,
I think for me, I've got a pretty big shell. So for those that know me, I talk all the time on a one-on-one.
No.
You can't shut me up. No, I know. But I'm not a public speaker. When I think my voice is nails on a chalkboard, I've never lost my accent. You lost it the minute you came to Lexington. So, but you were in public speaking. I'm not. So I sound more country than I think I should. But I've never been out of the country. And so there's a part of me that wants to go and see these things. And there's a part of me that's the typical Appalachia that, no, I don't want to get out of my comfort zone. So the cruise was a pretty good in between. That you're still in safe ground, but you're kind of there. I still was terrified to be out of the country. But then the disappointing thing was wherever we went, I really thought we were going to get a taste of the place. Yeah. Like I would never, David has traveled. I have not. Like I can remember him texting me during that huge, massive ice storm. He was in freaking Morelia, Mexico in 80-degree weather while we're all have no power for 20 days. But, stuff like that would make me freak out. But I was looking forward to just like getting in the food and whatever. And it wasn't. I mean, that's one thing I can say about the cruises is you're literally porting at like the Disney resort. So it all looks the same. So it doesn't matter if you're in Honduras, or it doesn't matter if you're in Belize. It's all the cruise ports, they all look the same.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty water, but but I don't know if I would really be ready to hop a flight to Honduras and be like, oh, here we are. I don't know, man.
Well,
first monkey I saw. I'd probably
you did see the monkey in Honduras. Remember, as we walked
he was
to
in the tree. I kept an eye on him just in case he wanted to hurt me or something.
It's because you don't know. And so, if you did it, I think you'd have a different perspective of it. I think my favorite place that we traveled would be Jackson Hole.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, just because of the scenery and to get to see Yellowstone and all that stuff.
I think that's probably the first place I've ever traveled that made me cry. I was terrified. I'm terrified to fly anyway, so it's gotten better over the years. I told him on the way home, Effexor does wonders for flight fear. Yeah. So we got home, but I remember flying you land at the bottom of the Grand Tetons in Jackson Hole, and I was scared because those are huge mountains. I mean, I've never seen mountains like that. All I know is the Smokies. I
like your Grand Tetons.
You like my Grand Tetons?
Yeah.
They're pretty big.
Yeah.
But they, I can remember flying in thinking how insignificant you are in the world. Like you don't mean anything. You are so insignificant.
So you fly and Jackson Hole is just a little tiny airport. And so we flew in to the airport and it was foggy, cloudy, whatever. You couldn't see is the point. And so, the plane dropped and suddenly when
there's a mountain right at your face.
Literally the mountain is right there. Not just a mountain, but a mountain.
You're in between them.
Yeah, you're like, holy if you crap.
Steer incorrectly, you're dead.
One of the first feelings of being insignificant in the world to say, my gosh, I've never seen anything like this before. And that was pretty cool, I think.
I think the weather was really, really weird. I was shocked at how cold it was or that it would snow. Because we went in June and it still snowed in June. Like the day before, all the tour buses got shut down on the mountain because it had 4 inches of snow that fell during the tour. So that was weird to me. It was just, of course, all the locals are walking around in 40-degree weather in shorts and tank tops because that was great to them. But I'm surprised that was your favorite place.
Well, we've traveled together.
Sure is expensive.
Yeah, I mean, I've traveled other places without you that I would probably say are would be favorite trips, but as far as traveling together, that was probably it. The cruise was super nice. I mean, I love the cruise, but
I don't think I've really been that many places though, because you've traveled a lot. I'm a chicken. I just get nervous.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, where do you want to go?
I still really want to go to either Italy or Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
I'd really like to go over there, but I get really wigged out at getting trapped or stuck or. I don't know. I don't know why I'm that way. I mean, I truly think it's. I don't know. I don't know why I'm that way. I'd like to see a lot. I'd like to see all the states. I want to see all the parks.
Maine was pretty daggone good, wasn't it?
Yeah, Maine was really cool. I'm a very anti-cold person, so to me, vacation is always a beach or somewhere hot or things like that. But Maine was really interesting.
Well, we started to do
very interesting
to maybe do 2 trips a year. In the wintertime, go to a warm place, and in the summertime go to a cool place to try to be opposite of the crowds that follow. Yeah. Maine was pretty good. I really enjoyed Maine. I'd like to go back there, I think.
That's probably the second place I cried.
Yeah.
I cried just watching the oceans.
Yeah.
The waves crash on the shore. Shores are something I've never seen. I mean, I've only seen a beach. I've never seen these rocky cliffs like Acadia has. And it was unbelievable. Just the color of the water. And, we really were going for the whales for you. It's so bad to see whales, but and we're former big boaters, huge boaters.
That boat ride sucked, didn't it?
Oh, I scared shitless.
Yeah.
So we're huge boaters. We respect the water. I can swim a little, but up there you're not going to make it very long in the water. But anyway, so we go on this cruise to go see these whales because that's all you want to see was the puppies.
The whale puppies. Yep.
So we go out there, and as soon as we get out of the harbor, the fog was so thick you could not see in front of your face, your hand.
Yeah.
And this dude, I guess, is either flying by the freaking force or instruments because he was hammered down as fast as that boat would go.
Yeah.
Not seeing shit. There's there's no way.
And it was pretty warm at the town that we stayed in, Booth Bay Harbor.
Yeah.
And I remember I think I was in short sleeves, but I remember
you were watching people and they were all getting off with jackets.
They were all getting off with jackets and everybody else had a jacket. And I thought, it's not that cold. And somebody, I guess we started shopping. Somebody said, yeah.
Yeah, I was getting some glasses because I didn't have any UVA glasses or something.
Yep. And somebody said, yeah, you better take one. So I ended up buying one just for that.
Well, what was really cool is Maine had some serious COVID rules, and we were just so burnt out with COVID. We were just so pissed at the world, other than I guess you could go to Florida and that's about it. As soon as I think it was June 1st that they opened up the COVID restrictions because you had to be tested or quarantined. They were not messing around. As soon as that opened, we booked it right then. So we were in there in June, and it was interesting, but we learned a little bit from the locals that if you want to go whale watching next time, you need to go when all the water temperature is the same temperature as the air. Yeah. And that's where we screwed up.
Yeah. So to your point, we got on there and it's going to have a drink or something like that. And of course they're frozen drinks or, cold drinks. But the fog was, she's not making that up. You just could not see
nothing.
And
I've never seen fog like that.
No.
Not even on Cumberland. I've never seen fog like that.
No. And it was freezing cold. So, I can't imagine what it'd have been like without. And that's still neat for a while, right? Because you think, oh my gosh, I'm in the North Atlantic or wherever the hell we were. I think was in the North Atlantic. And, you're seeing some cool stuff, what little bit you can see. But that was like 3.5 hours of that same view of nothing.
Nothing. And him on full throttle.
And I guess they make a big circle. They just make a
full throttle, man.
Yeah.
I was scared to death.
So it was kind of neat for the first few minutes. Like, oh, this is great. And then, 3 hours, like I'd like just to see something, just anything beyond, 15 feet off the side of the boat and splash of the water coming up. And
yeah, Maine, I definitely think it's a bucket list. It's extremely expensive. Just for those that are listening, you will pay more for your rental car than you do for your entire stay.
Yeah, they had no rental cars when we got there. And so it was super expensive to get a rental car.
It cost us more than the trip.
The rental car cost more than the rest of the trip. Yeah. But you had to have it.
Yeah. But it was,
we did something different though. We just got in the car and drove to different towns every day.
Yeah.
So we just chose a direction and drove. That was pretty fun. I had a good time with that.
I don't know where else we've been. We've not been a lot of places.
Not a whole lot of places. Mm-hmm. No.
No, you're the world traveler, Mr. International.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yep. That's right. Do you need to take a break?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's take a break. All right, better?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. I get nervous. I can't help it.
Well, sometimes a girl's got to pee.
A lot, apparently.
Yeah. Tell the, so you can tell a story on me, I guess. Tell the Kentucky Fried Chicken.
I thought of that the other day. I think it's really important that people laugh. And I got to catch my breath. I'm getting so nervous. I don't know why. That's one good thing about us is we laugh at each other and laugh with each other.
Mm-hmm.
There are days that I laugh at you.
This is one of them.
Yeah. So, it's funny because I don't have that many stories on you like that.
Right.
But we were in a hurry, and I don't think I've ever told you just to stop talking. That was so rude. I just couldn't help it. So we're zipping around, and he's hungry or whatever. So we swing by Kentucky Fried Chicken, and I think he was trying to say that let's get an 8-piece, but can I switch out and get a couple extra breasts or whatever? Because he's a breast man.
Yeah.
So
Teton man.
So we get in the drive-thru, and of course he's getting all confused because it's the KFC / Taco Bell combo. So of course his brain's overwhelmed at the menu, and so I'm sitting there beside him, and I'll never forget this because I don't know where this came from. Like, this was so bizarre to you. You're like, can I get the whatever, and can I add a couple extra pieces of chicken on or something like that? And they're like, yeah, what would you like? And you're like, I don't know. And they're like, well, what kind of piece of chicken do you want? I swear to God, you sat there and you went, I don't know, chicken neck? Well, of course, I start laughing so hard that I'm like, where did you get chicken neck? Like, out of all the things, like breast.
I think we were trying to tell them to take stuff out. I wouldn't ask for a chicken neck. I would want.
You asked for a chicken neck, though.
Oh, I thought I was trying to get them to take it out of the box.
So you're saying, like, well, what do you want to switch out with? And I'm thinking.
That's what I think. Take the necks out for the breast.
They don't serve chicken necks, you dumbass. So, of course, I'm sitting there laughing at him so hard in the drive-thru that they're like, I'm sorry, sir. Yeah. What? And of course, he's like, I don't know, neck. And finally, I was like, would you just stop talking? Just stop talking. Just don't say another word. And of course, I'm up in the drive-thru rolling. And you can see everybody in the drive-thru like looking through the window like, who is this idiot that just asked for chicken necks? Yeah.
So there's not many times that she will bust out laughing at me. There's,
oh my God.
She'll give me the look. The look.
I couldn't help it.
Or,
that was so mean, though, because I was just like, shut up.
Yeah,
stop talking.
And I said something so stupid about chicken necks that she literally, in the moment, bust out laughing.
I think I started crying out. Between that and the dairy video, I cry every time.
Yeah.
I have to laugh. Can you imagine? I just can't imagine being the person trying to take your order thinking, what?
Yeah.
I don't know. Some necks. I'll take some chicken necks.
I'm convinced it was to replace the necks with chicken breast or something.
So which KFC serves chicken necks?
Honey, I have no idea. That's the funny part of the story is that I don't have to learn what's in it.
Have you ever eaten one there?
No, but Cousin Eddie talked about for Clark, save the neck for me, Clark. So
that's because they were cooking the turkey bird. Like there's gizzards and necks in the bird, you goofball, not in a KFC. Oh, Lord.
Yeah. And so the girl, on the other end of the drive-thru, there was just this, the beauty of the comedy, right, is the timing and the delivery of it. And I wasn't trying to be funny. I was trying to actually order the bucket of chicken like I envisioned in my head, but, next.
I thought of chicken next.
So the comedy part, there's two pieces of it. The comedy is one is the other girl stopped talking on the other side of the microphone because she's probably thinking, what idiot just said this over the freaking thing.
And then she's motioning to everybody in the drive-thru like, come look at this
Probably.
idiot. It's getting ready to pull up to the window.
And then you busting out laughing, which is atypical for you to
I don't laugh at you.
No.
I usually don't. I think that's important. Like we're talking about that is, there's been times that, and we talked about this actually over the last week or so, just how important it is in relationships that people don't bust. I mean, I bust your chop at every chance I get one-on-one. But like if you're in a crowd with people or you're around somebody, like I'm always trying to like brag on you or manage you up or, just don't belittle people. Mm-hmm. I think that's really important in a relationship. And I mean, I know people are like, how do y'all get along? I mean, there's been times we want to kill each other. I get it. But I just have never, I don't feel like I ever have. And if I have, I'm sorry. But I around other people, I would always brag on you. I think it's pretty important. But I couldn't help it that day, man. I had to laugh at you. It's like, good Lord.
What other funny stories come to mind if you were to think?
Of us?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know. I don't drink very much anymore. When we were in our 20s, we drank a lot. We partied a lot with our friends and whatnot. We held a lot of parties. We enjoyed having Halloween parties at our house. Most of them I probably don't remember. But I'm not somebody that can drink or handle her liquor very well. I just remember the stories of me with swimming with the rope in between my teeth.
Mm-hmm.
I take on a little bit more than I probably should. I mean, I guess everybody has their tequila stories or whatever, but.
No, that was, if you said it, I got to explain it. So.
What?
The swimming with the boats. So I don't know what we'd had to drink.
Probably rum. I
don't remember being much. You're not a big drinker.
I'm not a big drinker, but if it was like that, they used to make wapachuli that everybody would share, and it was like lemonade, but it was made with tequila, which probably would have prompted this behavior.
Yeah, but even still, you don't get you don't get crazy with it. But anyway, to the point of the story, so we were in some cove, and everybody had their cabin cruisers.
Big cabin cruisers, like
big cabin
30,
cruisers.
40, or 35 feet cabin cruisers.
Big ones. And at some point during the day, people leave, and there was a collection of boats in the middle that left. And so when that happens, if a boat leaves, then you grab the rope from the farther one and toss it over, and you pull you pull yourself together. But so many boats left in the middle, it left our collection, and I want to say there were 7. I think so, because that's always stuck out to me. It was, if not, it was close to it. Excuse me. And so we're trying to figure out how do you start the motors and then sink driving all these cruisers to get over to where the other boats are tied up at. Mm-hmm. And so Stacy took it upon herself to say, I'll fix this.
Oh yeah.
So she jumped in the water we hooked her a line. She put the rope in her teeth.
Dog pedaled the hell out of it.
Dog pedaled
the boats together.
Like 7 cruisers to connect the boats together. So, yeah, that was that.
I don't really have that many funny stories, I don't think, on me. I used to be a lot funnier, and I actually had nurses tell me that when I was like years ago that management made me less funny, that I just always was so serious all the time.
Yeah, I think that happens. I was having that conversation with somebody a couple weeks ago. I always wondered when the change happens, and you get to a certain level and you can't help it.
Yeah, yeah.
What would you say is the key to longevity in a relationship?
Well, I mean, I think it really still goes back down to being friends. Like, even if we drifted our separate ways, we're still such good friends that you've always been a friend, to me more than, I wouldn't say more than anything, but I don't know. I mean, I think we've had our ups and downs. I've realized over time that hormones play a huge, huge role in a lot of things with us, but, I think we talk a lot. I think there's been periods. I think our relationship now is better than it's ever been. Mm-hmm. I know people say that. I've talked to elderly couples. Like, I love to hear what they have to say. Like, oh, you've been married 60 years. Tell me what your secret is. And they'll always say, oh, don't go to bed mad at each other. Well, we've done that a couple times, but just talking, just having conversations and not being judgmental about it. So, for example, I have a hard time sometimes listening. You don't. You listen to everything I say because I ramble all the time. But, truly listening to the other one's point of view and trying to understand it from their way, you don't have to disagree. You don't have to agree with it at all. But we've always just talked about things. People will say, like, oh, married couples have fights all the time. We really never have. The only thing we ever really got into it over was over you wanting to buy a Jeep and sinking bottomless pit money into. Like, that's the only thing I can remember in our whole marriage that I was like, you get that Jeep, I'm going to divorce you. Because it was like you wanted like an old CJ7 or something. Mm-hmm. But as far as that, I mean, we've always talked about stuff. Like, if we don't like it or we disagree, I don't know. I mean, I don't really know. I mean, I think you have put up with your fair share of a lot of crap from me.
God, yes.
I mean, I do.
I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, we've talked about this. We've been very open about like the hormone replacement therapy and how different that's made our marriage and life.
We ought to do a different show on that.
Yeah. That'd
be a good show to do.
A little bit more R-rated, but yeah, it's totally different. And so, there was a long time that I'm surprised you stayed with me, but I mean, I don't know. But it seems like the older we get, the better our relationships get, and it's all about talking. It's really important for me to feel like I'm the most important person in the room. And, there's tension, like at times when you're doing your band thing or you're doing this or you're doing that, there's tension because I want to I'm very selfish. I don't want to be the most important person in the room with you because you are for me. And so, I'm constantly will put stuff on Facebook or brag on you, or I want to take pictures of you or whatever. So I still, even all these years later, just like to look at you or like to watch you get ready in the mornings or, just silly stuff like that I hope other couples don't lose that.
Well, my answer would have been communication. So we're kind of there too, right? Yeah. The ability to talk and communicate through whatever issue is in front of you, I think is probably the biggest thing. I don't think I could lump anything else over top of that. There's a lot of things that I would, you're a great mom, you're a great wife, you're a great friend, you're all these great things. And, I think that's part of my comfort too, is I always knew that you were going to provide the best upbringing for our daughter. And so that's super important. I would list that as one of my favorite traits and characteristics. But as far as the piece of advice, I guess, you have to be able to communicate in order to learn those things and to work through things. And you're not always going to agree, of course, but you got to be able to talk. And I agree with you. The older we get, the better we're getting at it.
Yeah. I think, when we first got together, some of our hardest struggles were your career and my career and me being pregnant. We moved to a new town. That was probably the most challenging because at that point in time, your career was more important than life, but that's where we were in our lives at that point. Like it wouldn't be now. Like I remember you telling certain, top 4 company that you're not working that hard. You're semi-retired kind of thing, or whatever. But I remember things were more important at that time, and those were challenging years, very challenging. To get called out for a cow up in 4 counties away when I had to be at work in an hour, and nobody to babysit. Those were challenging years.
That was always a weird irony of working for the state police, right? Is their big thing is family first.
Yeah, right.
Right, but it's family's a distant second or third at best.
That sounded really. That sounded very jaded.
Well, it's not that we don't have love for the agency and the people and all the things, because we do, and we had a great career, and some of the absolute best people in the whole world are still there, and we've known those. But there is an irony to that job, and the irony is that you belong to the state police, and when you're one of only a handful of people in a multi-county area and you're responsible for law and order in that county, there's no one else to call. And so it creates a weird stress and dynamic on whoever's doing that work.
It was very difficult just because of, and this sounds very shallow, but from a pay scale, I was the breadwinner. Yeah. And so it was very hard for me to constantly be like, oh, okay, I'll stay home. He's got to drive 2 counties over just to not find the cow on the road. Right. Because they demand that he go. And so, one of the biggest adjustments for me, it changed. Police work changed you. You were very, very sensitive and very different of the guy that I fell in love with. And I think that's some of the issue. People don't realize that when you are in a long-term relationship, you completely change and morph, and you either grow together or you don't. And then maybe that's how they grow apart. I don't know. But you're not the person at all today that you were when I met and fell in love with you. Yeah. But
I'm trying to get back to that a little bit. I'm trying to let go of of what the job did.
I think over time you will.
Yeah.
But no, that was 30 years of your life the way it's patterned. You still sit in the corner of a restaurant with your back against the wall, because those are things it will never be different. It's just me having the ability to adapt. But what was frustrating is, especially back in those times, it does take 2 people working in the home to afford, because the pay was nothing.
Yeah.
The pay was nothing. And so to expect people just to drop what they're doing to go, that was a challenge, especially with a new mom. My hormones were insane. Anyway, I was mean as shit to you for no reason. But, that's a challenge. And so, until they change that mindset, and I said, this is not bashing.
No, not at all.
Until they change that mindset, it will be a challenge like that, because it's still set in the times that your dad was there, that the little wifey was in the kitchen, which, great, I love being in the little kitchen, but it took 2 people to have, to make enough money to survive at the cop salary. And so
there was some, weird ironies there, right? That
dynamic.
The expectation is there's a cow on the road, and you're not making that up. That's real stories and real call outs, that there's a cow on the road.
And I was pissed.
2 or 3 counties away, and you thought,
which is at least an hour drive.
Yeah. They're like, there's not a chance in hell that cow's going to be there. And so from their point of view, you can't not go. Number 1, someone called, and 2, it's a traffic hazard. And 3, if something does happen, then you can't not go.
Right.
Because the whole world knows the cow's not going to be there in an hour.
Yeah.
But the weird part, because if it was something really serious, like a shooting or something like that,
sure, that's not even question.
You don't even really question that.
Sure.
It becomes question when you got something silly like a barking dog or a cow on the road. But the expectation is you're going to go. I don't care that your wife's the breadwinner, and I don't care that she's got to work, and I don't care that you don't have child care. There's a cow on the road, and it's your turn on call, and you're going to go. And that's tough. That's a tough place to be sometimes.
But it made it to where you're on call all the time.
Yeah.
So on your days off, you still had court.
Yeah.
So and that's what people don't understand about a career like that is, I think in a marriage, those type of things play heavy. Like I made a lot of sacrifice. And then so later down the road, for those that know us, I had lost my job with one of the companies that provided for Medicaid because it was a terrible program. But anyway, let's not focus on that.
Yeah, let's not.
I had put out my application knowing that the state contract was going to end early. And so Pikeville had called me and we thought it was a joke. I mean, I was like, how'd they see my resume?
Yeah.
And so going back and looking at things, this is the type of sacrifices. And like I said, what's really cool about you as a man and stuff is really, just how nurturing you are. I never had that. You got to have the college experience. You got to stay in a dorm. You got to do those things and be independent. I wasn't. I was codependent from the time my mom left and went to Florida. I leached onto you. I didn't have stability, just one thing after another. And so when this came up, I literally got a phone call to go down to Pikeville, and I'd lost my job, and I ought to tell that story. That was pretty funny. Day of the snake.
Oh, yeah.
Lost my job. So I lose my job, and these people had called and was like, "Hey, why don't you come down?" I thought, yeah, whatever. So I'll go down to Pikeville, and of course it's Eastern Kentucky, so I'm right with my people. I love it. And they made an offer that I couldn't walk away from, and knowing we were struggling financially, obviously have to have a job. You made the sacrifice to let me go. I mean, that was Rachel's first year in high school.
Yeah.
And you're like, go down there, to be a director, do the things that you always wanted to be a director. Go do it. And so he did it. And,
you did it.
You encouraged me to go.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I'd still be there. If there would have been a captain position, I could have easily seen transferring down there. I mean, I still stay in touch with those people. I absolutely loved Pikeville. I loved my employees, still consider a lot of them my friends. I enjoyed that, but that was a huge sacrifice on your part. Like, I don't know if I could have done that. Like the state, you going for 22 weeks when I was pregnant to the state police was huge. I mean, I remember begging you, just be a house dad. I'll work 7 days a week if you'll just be a house dad, because I loved having you home. Probably how I ended up pregnant.
Yep.
But, that was huge. And that gave, by you giving, that gave me that closure that I never lived independently. I had my own little apartment there, and I came home on the weekends, and just, it gave me that little piece of life that I never had because I was always codependent from the time I got out of high school. So
yeah, I'm glad we did it. I mean,
it was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard.
And again, this isn't anti-state police, but I always thought the opportunity would come where I would have to travel, because that's what happens as you progress and as you promote. You have to take the openings that are available.
Yeah.
And we weren't going to move because we were going to keep our daughter in school. But fortunately, my career path didn't take that. But that's what I always expected is one day I'm going to get that call and I'm going to have to work across the state.
Yeah.
And
a lot of them do.
A lot do. A bunch do. And I think some of that's changing along the way. But yeah, that's the model, is you take those open spots. And where we lived in central Kentucky, I was open to a lot. But I was always afraid one of those areas in the fringe of the state was going to call, right? And anyway, it didn't work out that way, but it did work out where you got that call.
Yeah.
And so it made me realize, and this may come out wrong, and I'm just sharing my opinion, so it is what it is. But I guess it's one thing to ask the dad to move away and take a position. But what really stood out to you was asking a mom to leave home. And that wasn't cool. Right? Because the mom just doesn't do that for the most part. I'm not passing judgment. I'm not saying, I'm just in our situation. Just that was tough for the mom to be asked to leave home.
Well, and I had a lot of luggage. So from generations and situational, we've always had that pact that if I started acting a little nutty or, I didn't want to leave my 17-year-old.
Yeah.
Like I said,
that's right.
Not that I harbor anything. I don't. I mean, those are the choices I made.
Right.
Not that anybody abandoned me or left me, but there's just a part of me that's like, I'm not going to go down that path. And, we were struggling financially. So I knew I had to for a little while, and it helped get us on our feet, and I didn't do it for very long, and they knew it. So I never made promises to them that I was not going to be there for the long haul. They knew it. They're like, they even said it's a great resume builder. And I'm like, great, as long as you know that I ain't here for the long haul, because there's only one captain in that whole post area,
Right.
So, but yeah, as far as like the mindset with your job, that's what I think is difficult is it's not like it was in the 50s and 60s. Like when your dad was one, the wife could get a job, but not when, wives now have careers that are college educated careers. It's not just that easy to go find a secretary job or, go work at the bank or whatever, because I think your mom did some secretary in bank. So it didn't really matter where they lived. She was easily able to adapt.
Yeah.
Nursing wise, I could probably find a job anywhere, but
yeah.
It's just, I don't know, it's different. But.
So as we work to close down, I know it's probably big words that you're excited to hear as we close down the episode.
Yeah.
where do we go from now? What's next for us?
Where do we go? I don't know. I just hope to survive. That's how, once you hit your 50s, you're kind of like just hoping to be alive, make it a little bit longer. But what are we going to be on this year? 36 years together and 30.
We'll be 30 married.
Sheesh.
36 together.
Oh yeah. And you didn't even talk about my birthday. So you're talking about the Valentine's Day, but the running joke is that my birthday is on Valentine's Day.
That's right.
And so every year I get birthday stuff, Valentine's stuff. But there was one year I did not.
Yeah.
And you caught a lot of hell for that.
Is that early on?
No, it's a few years ago.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I don't. Let's not talk about it.
So you remember it, obviously.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, so I hope to make it 60. That'd be kind of cool, wouldn't it?
60 years married or 60 years of age?
Either. The bar is really low. Yeah. After the last month or so of my life, I was like, the bar is really low. Yeah.
I think it'd be pretty cool to make it to 60 years. That'd be pretty neat. That's a ways from now, but I think we can do it.
Yeah. Well, we both always joke. Everybody asks, so if you had to do it over again, would you get married, or would you, like, if something happened to us, would we get married? We both are very honest. We're like, no, there's nobody else. And we didn't talk about that soulmate thing. We'll talk about how
you started on it. Go ahead.
How, like, soulmate wise, when I first originally said, which I don't feel like any of this podcast was about Valentine's Day, but whatever.
Well, it's about our story. Just
like soulmate is you don't, some people say, oh, I met my soulmate. Okay, well, whatever. The way we started out, absolutely, I would have never agreed with that. And then over time, we can finish each other's. And I think maybe that's just being together.
Yeah.
We can finish each other's thoughts. We think the things at the same time. So, for example, if we're just in a car randomly driving, all of a sudden I'll say something like, man, I really like that. And you're like, you know what? I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
We do that all the time. And then as far as soulmate stuff, you'd have to tell a taser story.
I was going to have you tell a taser story.
I don't know it that way. All I know is when he was going to get tased, which I guess through their training, they go through everything. You got to get tased, you got to get pepper sprayed, whatever, which you still think is worse than labor. Cause thanks to one of your women troopers that said that. It's ridiculous, but
police officers, but still,
whatever. Anyway, so they go through that type of training. That way, if it happens in a real life situation, they know what it's going to feel like, or can prepare that, man, this is really going to suck, or whatever. So I was tore up. Like, the nurse in me really gets mad about stuff like that, because I worry, I've had a cousin that's deadly allergic to, like, peppers or pepper spray. Well, what if you spray somebody and they go into anaphylaxis? They're dead, all in the name of training. So you were supposed to get tasered. Well, of course, my world is cardiac nursing. So I'm sitting there thinking, well, what if they hit on the RNT, and what if it goes into VFib, and what about this? And I don't know. And just on and on and on. Just my brain was just in overdrive about all the bad scenarios that could happen with him getting tased, instead of probably like now I'd be like, yeah, can I watch? Can I do it?
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was my take, as I was super, super nervous all day long, knowing you were going for this type of training. And so all of a sudden I'm driving down the road one day on the day in question, and I could not breathe. Like, I literally had to pull over. I couldn't breathe. I was in full blown panic. Never had a panic attack. I'm anxious and hyper. Sure. That's given. But this was different. I could not breathe. Mm-hmm. And I just kept trying to call you. I got to call him. I got to call him. I got to call him. Just kept trying to call him. And then that's the end of my side.
Yeah. So, for taser training, you have to, in order to be certified to carry it, I guess. And then we were doing instructor piece, and definitely for the instructor piece to it, you have to be tased in order to experience it, and blah, blah, blah. And so it's, there's people on each side of you, and there's a guy back there that shoots you with the taser, and it's two little metal barbs that come out and shoots electric through your body.
I just keep thinking of Zach Gandalf. What is it? Gandalf?
Yeah.
Whatever his name is.
Yeah. So on the day in question, it was my turn. And of course, she didn't want me to be tased because of these heart concerns, not of me, just
in
generally speaking, of
nobody
jolting electric through your body. So it was my turn, and I was up on the thing, and, they give you a little bit of a warning, and it's 5 seconds, by the way. So you get electrocuted for 5 seconds, what it feels like. Mm. And as the taser was going off in my back,
Or you said that you even saw the laser. Like the laser was already fired down on you. Like
No, I can't see that.
Oh.
No, because they put it in your back, so I couldn't see that. But to the point of, as the taser is hitting me, is when you're calling. So you're experiencing all of those things. Yeah. And of course the phone's there. My phone's ringing. Like, who is it? And I think I answered on the ground.
You did.
So you tighten up like a 2x4.
You're like, it's my wife. Just let her ring.
Yeah, like it's my wife. Just let it ring. And so the whole thing experience happened
and I'm
during the 4 phone calls before the voicemail. Yeah. And I was able to answer the phone.
I was losing my shit
on the ground. Like, yeah, I'm getting tased as you called.
It's little stuff like that when you experience that. And I mean, a lot of people may not know those things, but we experience that all the time. Like, we know, we can feel it. We know it. It's just different. And
just
so,
different. Yeah.
I don't have advice. We grew a lot together. Sometimes
I think we still are.
Sometimes we like it. Sometimes we don't. I think, definitely the hormones is for another show. It completely added a different layer to our life and our marriage than we've ever had before.
Yeah.
And, I don't know.
Let's do that. You want to do a hormone show?
Sure.
You know how you make a hormone?
Dad joke. I don't know.
You don't pay her.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Wow. That's if anybody's tuning into this one anymore. We really didn't talk about anything.
All right. So what else we need? Anything else? Any other stories you need to put on here?
I don't think so.
Any other things you need to tell?
No. Just really proud of you and proud of the stuff that you do.
Yeah. I'm glad you came on. Was it that bad?
It was horrible. Yeah.
Horrible. Let's go out to some
I just don't feel like it was like, I thought we were supposed to really talk about Valentine's, and I feel like I just got rattled off on all my tangents like I normally do.
Welcome to my world.
It's just like a flight of ideas all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you live with me?
Well, it's tough, but I make
it. You just tune me out, don't you?
Huh?
I bet you do.
Amanda turned the earphones down right at the right time.
Yeah. It's like, you'd have to tune me out.
Yeah.
I was like, because I just ramble. Whatever.
Yeah. So here's some more When It's Love.
Is that the right song?
I'm sure of it. I don't know if you are or not.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah. Will you be my Valentine?
I'll be your Valentine.
Yay. Well, I love you.
I love you too, baby.
Thanks for coming on. Happy Valentine's. All right. Until next time.